This is the BMW M2 Competition, and it's very good for many different reasons. But I'm about to make a statement that's somewhat sacrilegious to the BMW loyal. You see, I think this M2 is the spiritual successor to the legendary E30 M3. Now, before the BMW Illuminati grab their pitchforks and light their torches, let me explain the method to my madness. You see, cars these days are getting bigger and heavier due to more safety systems being required and, of course, the practicality that everybody demands these days. It's not a new story, you've heard it all before, but it's certainly exemplified in BMW's range, with a 3 Series that's now the size of a 5 Series, a 5 Series that's now the size of a 7 Series, and a 7 Series that's now the size of the moon. Enter the new BMW M2, a car that not only has a fully fledged M engine under the bonnet, but also a length that's within 4 inches of the iconic E30. I think you can see where I'm going with this. The E30 M3 is the godfather of the everyman M car, a wonderful hangover from the homologation requirements of motorsport. I was lucky enough to drive this fine example and found that the experience wasn't actually defined by its legendary engine, but its agility and eager and engaging chassis. So let's start with the headlines, because BMW's managed to shoehorn the same 6-cylinder twin turbocharged unit used in things like the M4 into this little compact body. It produces well clear of 400 horsepower, 405 pounds-foot of torque, and do 0 to 62 miles per hour in about 4.4 seconds, which is mighty quick for a little car like this. Obviously, externally you can see where things like the widened track have distorted the shape, giving it a really stout, purposeful and swollen demeanour. It's that classic recipe of putting a big, powerful engine into a relatively small car, and the results are quite special. This car's not just impressive in a straight line, because anyone capable of doing a quick bit of mental maths will have worked that out from the performance figures. It's not just point to point that this thing puts a grin on your face, but through the bends. That short wheelbase means that it's incredibly agile, and a very precise steering setup here from BMW's M division just makes it an utter joy on British country roads in particular. It positively leaps from bend to bend, and thanks to that additional bracing and rigid structure, relatively stiff suspension, the car is compliant at all times. There's a huge amount of grip on offer, but you're well aware that the power under your right foot can easily overwhelm those rear tyres for some, let's say, entertaining driving sequences. It really is a bonkers little car, this, because you can go from turning the tyres into smoke like some sort of alchemist one moment, and then settle down for the cruise home in this lovely plush leather and Alcantara interior the next. It's that duality that really makes the M2 quite endearing, but it's its character, whenever you really are pushing it, that makes it arguably the ultimate M car in the range. Now, this specific test car here is equipped with the 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, and it's super quick, both in terms of being left to its own devices and plenty responsive whenever you pull on one of these paddles here. However, when you spec this car, what you need to do is ignore all of that. Go for the 6-speed manual transmission. I've driven this car before with a manual gearbox, and it's just one of the most endearing, engaging machines as you manually shift cogs yourself and unleash the next chapter of power from the engine. It's a super exciting, super vibrant, super characterful machine, this, and something that I really think has that flavour of E30 M3 to it. While the latest BMW M3 and natural successor to the E30 M3 is an incredibly capable car and mighty, mighty impressive, there's just something much more tactile about this. And for me, that's what defined its famed ancestor. It's not all about breaching the sound barrier via the nuclear warhead that's under the bonnet. It's about how you get there. And that is pretty much how I'd sum up the M2. The experience of driving the car on challenging roads, it's so dialed in, but then equally so playful whenever you exercise your right foot a little. Now, this car isn't bathed in the same motorsport heritage, but when we're all driving around in autonomous cars or electric cars in the future, I think we will look back on the M2 competition and go, yes, that was a real high watermark in that era of BMW's M cars.